Story 1 False Reflection. I was about 12 years old and I woke up in the middle of the night because I had to pee. I walked across the hall to the small bathroom, turned on the light and was about to reach for the toilet seat when I looked up and saw a face in the mirror. It wasn't my face. It was as if someone was standing on the other side, to the right, with their face right next to the glass, staring at me. I only saw it for a brief moment, but it was burned into my brain. I screamed and ran out to look for my father. Of course, my father investigated and then reassured me, or at least tried to. We ended up having a prayer session because I was so freaked out. At some point I must have fallen asleep again. Fast forward to my 30s, I had long since forgotten the event. One evening when my father was visiting, he quietly brought up the event. "Do you remember seeing a face in the mirror once?" Suddenly it came back to me and it sent a shiver down my spine. "Yes, I remember." "Well," he said, "sometimes I think about that night." He looked down at the ground with a serious expression. "I saw it too." He went on to describe exactly what I had seen. We have no idea what that was. Apparently, when he was investigating, he saw it and freaked out himself. Apparently the prayer session was also for his own nerves. I respect him for withholding this treat from me until my 30s, but I kind of wish he'd never told me. Story 2 The Haunted Hotel. I stayed at the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas, oldest property on the Strip with a sordid mafia history. In the middle of the night I woke up and saw a dark figure moving around the foot of my bed and coming towards me through the gap between the two single beds. I turned on the lights and there was the full figure of a man in a '60s sports blazer with blood all over his face. I yelled, "Go away," and started throwing my arm in his direction. Just like that he disappeared. I woke up my friend in the other bed and my buddy said, "What the hell are you hitting?" I told him and he laughed at me. The next morning my buddy said after I fell asleep there was water dripping on his head but there was no leak in the ceiling and he was convinced we had a paranormal encounter. The next morning, as we stepped out into the bright Vegas sunlight, the events of the night before seemed like a distant nightmare. My friend and I exchanged uneasy glances, both unsure of what to make of our experiences. As we wandered down the bustling Strip, the memories of the previous night gnawed at the corners of my mind. I couldn't shake the image of the bloodied figure in the '60s sports blazer. What had he wanted? Why had he appeared to me? My friend, ever the skeptic, tried to rationalize the events. Maybe it was just a trick of the light, he suggested, but his voice lacked conviction. Determined to uncover the truth, we returned to the Flamingo Hotel later that day. With a mixture of trepidation and curiosity, we approached the front desk and inquired about the history of the hotel. To our surprise, the receptionist's eyes widened as we mentioned our experiences. "You're not the first guests to report strange occurrences," she said, her voice hushed. "This hotel has a reputation for being haunted." She went on to explain that back in the 1960s, the hotel had been a hotspot for the mafia, with rumors of shady dealings and violent confrontations swirling around its corridors. Many believed that the spirits of those who had met untimely ends within its walls still roamed the premises, seeking some form of closure. Armed with this newfound knowledge, my friend and I embarked on our own investigation. We scoured the hotel's archives, digging up old newspaper articles and police reports, piecing together the grim history of the Flamingo Hotel. And then, in a dusty corner of the basement, we stumbled upon a faded photograph. It depicted a man in a '60s sports blazer, his face obscured by shadows. The caption revealed his identity, Dominic Santoro, a notorious mobster who had met a violent end within the hotel's confines. Chilled to the bone, we realized that the figure I had seen in the dead of night was none other than Dominic himself, his restless spirit still haunting the Flamingo Hotel decades after his demise. Our paranormal encounter had become more than just a ghost story, it was a chilling reminder of the hotel's dark past, a past that refused to stay buried beneath the glittering facade of the Las Vegas Strip. And as we left the Flamingo behind, we couldn't help but wonder how many other secrets lay hidden within its walls, waiting to be unearthed by those brave enough to seek the truth. Story 3: Message from the Afterlife. My friend Sarah was in a nightclub, completely drunk, when she felt the overwhelming urge to tell a complete stranger that her leg hurt. Didn't. It was all a bit strange. She ignored it, but the desire didn't stop. So she went to this guy and said, "I know this is crazy, but I feel the need to tell you that my leg hurts. I know this is crazy. Sorry." But he bursts into tears. It turned out that his father had just died and they had previously made a pact that if there was an afterlife, he would give him a message with a completely random phrase. So there could be no mistakes, and they decided that, "I hurt my leg," should be that message. The man, stunned and tearful, embraced Sarah tightly, overwhelmed by what he believed was a message from his departed father. Sarah, still bewildered by the surreal turn of events, couldn't fathom how her seemingly nonsensical impulse had such profound meaning to a stranger. As they sat down together, the man explained that his father, before passing away, had promised to send him a message from the afterlife as proof of its existence. They had joked about it, choosing the most random and unlikely phrase they could think of: "I hurt my leg." It was a phrase so arbitrary that it could only be interpreted as a genuine message if it were to come from the beyond. Sarah listened intently, her own skepticism waning in the face of such a remarkable coincidence. She couldn't deny the impact her actions had on this grieving man, nor could she shake off the eerie feeling that perhaps there was something more to this encounter than mere chance. In the days that followed, Sarah and the man kept in touch, bonded by the inexplicable connection forged that night. They shared stories of their lives, their hopes, and their fears, finding solace in each other's company amidst the uncertainty of the universe. For Sarah, the experience served as a reminder of the inexplicable mysteries of life and death, and the interconnectedness of all things. It was a moment that challenged her beliefs and expanded her understanding of the world around her. As for the man, he found comfort in the belief that his father was watching over him, still present in some form beyond the realm of the living. And though he still mourned his loss, he took solace in the knowledge that love transcends even the boundaries of life and death. Together, they carried on, bound by a shared experience that defied logic and reason, but affirmed their faith in the unseen forces that shape our lives. And in that nightclub, amidst the chaos and revelry, they found a connection that would last far beyond the confines of this world.